Hello, my name is David Berg, and I'm here to explain a little bit about who I am and to give you some insight into what has helped me be successful. Start off with I'm a retired corporate technology executive. I've been a chief information officer for, I don't know, 30 years, I guess. I retired 7 years ago. And 7 years ago, I started a new career in network marketing, and I've been quite successful at that. So let's talk a little bit about the couple of things that I think that reinforced my success. And in order to do this, I need to go back into the very beginning and tell you a little story about me. I went to high school like everybody does, graduated from high school, and when I got out of high school, I didn't really want to learn more stuff. I was tired of learning. So I decided to join the Navy. I joined the Navy and they taught me electronics. I was there with 4 years with them. I was in the naval aviation field, and my responsibility and learning was to keep all the electronic navigation and all that kind of stuff in the airplane working. So I did that. 4 years later, I got out of the Navy, and since I had some electronics experience, I went to work for IBM. Now, I went to work for IBM, but actually it was a very low position. I worked in manufacturing, in the manufacturing divisions, one of the divisions of manufacturing, right, in New York. And actually started at night, and I was a tester. What does that mean? Well, the first job I had was testing vacuum tubes to make sure they were okay. I'm sure some of you don't even know what a vacuum tube is. It's so old. It was in the early 60s. Okay. Then I guess I did that okay, and what happened is the technology moved to transistors. I began to test those little transistors. I was successful at that, so they moved me up to test the boards that they put the transistors in. So I tested the boards that they put the transistors in, and then I moved up again, and I just, you stuck the board into a box, and I tested the box that the boards were in. And then the multiple boxes made a system and a computer, and I tested the system and the computer. Did that for several years. Just to say, hey, that's the way I started. But the interesting thing is, just jump way ahead for a minute and say, in 18 years and 7 promotions, I went from a nobody to the chief information officer of one of the large divisions, running all of their computers, their applications, the networks, the phone system, all that kind of stuff. I was the guy in charge. I had about 1,200 people that reported to me to keep this division running with the systems and applications that ran this division. So you say, well, that's interesting. How does a nobody do that? Yes, and I became a somebody, and actually a big somebody. And then for 30 years, I was a chief information officer for a variety of companies. 7 years ago, I retired, and I decided that I liked the network marketing strategy, the model, the business model, and so I thought to myself, let's start another career. I was retired, so 7 years I've been now involved in network marketing. I've learned it very well. I consider myself now a network marketing professional. I'm again went from a nobody to a somebody in network marketing. So why can a guy with basically no education, formal education, I got a lot of education, but formal education, be so successful in two different fields? The field of well, maybe even more than that, because I started out as a technology guy in the technology, and then in the leadership and management, and now in network marketing. So let me tell you, I think it's two things. One, it's a focus. It's an intense focus on being the best that you can be, and the best that can do that job, whatever the job is. A focus. Learning about the job. No one can do it better. Just totally focused on that. Thinking about it a lot. Studying about it, all that kind of stuff, right? And for my probably first 7 or 8, 9 years in IBM. I was on the technical side doing all that. Now, I was invited, more than invited, I was almost required to take a management position, even though I was not interested in it, because the company thought that I could do a good job and they needed me, and so yeah, I said, okay, I would become a manager. So once I got the management job, I found out I liked it. I liked that even more than the technology thing. A couple reasons I liked it. The first reason is because I had 8 or 10 people working for me, and I assigned the work, and so I could take the piece of work that I wanted to do and did it and sign the rest. The other thing, these 8 or 10 people, all probably smarter than me, wanted to teach me what they knew. And I thought, wow, that's cool. And so as I let them teach me what they knew, the other interesting that happened, that they really began to like me. They liked me because I let them teach me what they knew. Interesting, interesting. So the other part of my success, one was focus, to be the best of the best. That was important. The other was having people like you. And so I said, well, how do you have people like you? Well, once I got into the management thing, I studied people because I understood computers upside down, inside out, and all that kind of stuff. But when I started in the managerial and leadership roles, I didn't understand very well people. So I studied people. I read books about people. I did those kind of things with people. So, over a period of time, I found out really it was pretty simple. It was very simple to get people to like you. And I'd say, it kind of hit me. It goes all the way back to Sunday school. And the 2 great commandments. Love God with all thy might, mind, strength, and heart, and love thy neighbor as thyself. And somehow or other, way back in those days, I learned that. I learned that, and I wanted to do those things. I wanted to follow those 2 great commandments: love God and love my neighbor. And I thought, as myself, maybe not exactly right. Maybe it's more than myself, because I knew that we're all a little bit selfish, me included. And so we're basically a little bit selfish, and therefore we're more interested in me than they. But you just have to decide to get interested in them. And you ought to act out that interest in them. And when you act it out, they like you because they see that you're doing things. But even more powerful, I've learned there's 2 kinds of people. There's fixers and there's growers. Now, fixers are a problem because all they see is things that are broken. They want to fix them. I guess you have to have those. But, they see the things that are wrong in the world. Now, if you move that over to a person, they see the things that are wrong in a person. And they don't like things that are wrong. So, even though they don't tell that person that they don't like them, the person gets that feeling because they don't like them, because they got defects. Now, the problem is every person has defects. There's no perfect person. We all have defects. And we're all like an iceberg. The things we see don't represent who we really are. We only see probably 10% of who that person is. And if you're a fixer, you see the problems. And then you make judgments about them based on those problems. You don't like them, and then they sense that you don't like them. So I figured out how you can take the person's free agency away, that they'll have to like you. They have no choice but to like you, and it's really simple. All you have to do is sincerely like them. If you sincerely like them, they cannot help themselves but to like you. So how do you do that when they have defects? Well, you got to overlook that. Can't be a fixer. You got to overlook those defects, and you got to look at the big picture. You got to look at the 90% that you can't see. You got to learn who they are. You got to like them. You got to find things about them that you like. If you find things about them like, and you really like them, and then you act that out by being of service and being more concerned about them and their feelings than you and your feelings, you'll have people liking you. And I can say that I've acted this out most of my life. And as a result of that, of focus on the job and having people like me, things have happened, good things might happen. And, you know, like I say, in 18 years, from a nobody to a big somebody in a company like IBM. In 7 years, a nobody to, well, not quite a big somebody, but, you know, a sort of getting to be a big somebody in network marketing. But that's me. So I say, you know, do you want to be successful? That's what I think you have to do. Focus on being the best of what it is. Now, if it's in network marketing, what you're focused on, you're focused on being a professional network marketer. And you're focused on having people like you. What does that mean? It means you have to act in a way that they're more important than you. That's it. Yes, they can't dislike you. You've taken it away from them if you really like them. But you have to sincerely like them. Because they can tell if you see defects and you don't like them because they're defects. So hopefully this is helpful. You know, it's been helpful to me. I would credit those two things. Focus on being a professional, the best I can be in what I've done, no matter what it is. And the second is focus on liking people. All people. You know, your managers, your peers, the people that work for you, people in your organization, people everywhere. As you like them, they have to like you. They have no choice. And when they like you, they look for and good things to do for you. And they rejoice in your success because they like you. So hopefully that's you learned a little bit about me. You learned a little bit about what I think is important. It's worked for me. I'm sure it'll work for you. Thank you for taking the time.